Well, hello, my dears, and welcome to another episode of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. My name is Daniela, and if you're new here, I want to welcome you to our community. We talk a lot about marketing, systems, operations, leadership, and entrepreneurship. But a big piece of success in all of these areas, the thread that ties everything together, is personal development. It's taking good care of yourself so that you can show up as the best version of yourself. You don't want to operate your company from an overworked and overwhelmed space. If you're doing that, you can't think clearly. You react to situations rather than responding to them. Instead, you want to lead your company and your team towards the directions of the goals that you have set for yourself. You don't want to get stuck in this like hamster wheel cycle that happens when you don't take good care of yourself, when you don't show up as the best version of what you are truly capable of. And that conversation, how you do that, that's exactly why I invited back one of my favorite humans, Dr. Nita Bhushan. Nita and I were in a peer formed mastermind several years ago. We became close during that year and we've stayed in touch since. And I invited her on to talk about self-care, to talk about rituals, to talk about pausing and how to do that when you're a busy working mom and or entrepreneur wearing every single hat in the business. So I'm going to go ahead and read her bio, and then we will jump right into the interview. Dr. Nita Bhushan is a TEDx speaker, former cosmetic dentist, and a world-renowned emotional health advocate. She's the author of multiple best-selling books, including her 5-time award-winning title, That Sucked, Now What?, endorsed by Jay Shetty. As the founder of the Global Grit Institute, dedicated to helping people reframe life's toughest moments, and the Dharma Coaching Institute, a leading organization training coaches and becoming the highest version of themselves, Nita is a transformative force in personal development. Nita has shared her thought leadership on grit, resilience, and emotional well-being on international stages and is the host of her top-rated podcast, The Brave Table. Her expertise has been featured in Forbes, ABC, NBC, CBS, Grazia, OK Magazine, Verve Magazine, and Toddler. After realizing how unfulfilled she felt running her multi-million-dollar dental practice, Nita embarked on a life-changing journey across 45 countries, studying the intersection of human behavior, ancient wisdom, Eastern philosophy, and therapeutic psychology. This deep exploration, combined with her personal experiences of overcoming adversity, including being orphaned at a young age, surviving an abusive marriage, and navigating profound loss, has shaped the powerful message of resilience that she shares with the world. Today, Nita lives in Dubai with her husband and 2 children. She's an incredible human. She's one of my favorite humans, and I hope that you enjoy this interview with her. All right, Miss Nita, welcome back to the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. I'm so excited to see you. I'm so excited to have you here. And I just loved our pre-show conversation, and I wish I would have recorded that. But this episode, I really wanted to bring you in because for me, when I look at you, we've known each other. We've been in each other's worlds for a couple years now. I don't know, maybe 5 years now.
5.
Something.
Do you
Yeah.
know that today, the day that we're recording, it marks 3 years of That Sucked, Now What? Of my book.
Does it
So yeah,
really?
yes. And when you came to the launch. How crazy
Yeah.
is that? So
That is
yeah,
so crazy.
3
Yeah,
years.
there's all these different chapters that we have in life as humans,
Mhm.
as women. And, you like where I was going is you started as a cosmetic dentist. You were in the aesthetic space. You moved into coaching. You then became an author, as we talked about, That Sucked, Now What? Which, by the way, I gave my mom the book for Christmas and she's like listening to it on Audible, like on audio. And she's like, wow, this lady is, I was like, that's one of my good friends. And she's like, she is so good. So I was like, oh, I'm going to make sure that I tell her that.
Aw, thanks, Auntie.
But you have now moved into, I was so proud of myself that I got the chai
Oh
tonic.
my goodness.
I have
Yes.
them here, both of them. I've got my chai here. And for me, this is
Love your
such
moon
a
cup.
my moon cup, yes, because it's my reminder to stay focused on the feminine.
Mm.
But you created this company that it's not just chai. I mean, chai is so much of who you are and what, like, every time I would come to your house, we would make chai. That was like
Mhm.
what we would do. We would have the rose petals. It was like this whole vibe that I loved so much.
It was a whole ritual,
It was a
and
ritual. Yeah.
yeah, and I think it's kind of, I mean, in the, in the traditional Ayurvedic culture, Indian culture, anything that we do as a ritual, and obviously when and the whole idea for rose petals or any sort of intention behind what you're doing is, the adornment is the intention of, okay, what am I going to fill my cup with literally? Is it going to be positive words or a mantra or something that really, speaks to me in the way that I need it for it to land for me today? And it's only for me, not for you, not for anybody else. But what does it mean to you particularly for, the time of the month that you're doing this for, or just the seasonality of where life is? And I think that, these types of things, rituals and times and moments in our life can be so sacred. And for me, this was a sacred homecoming for many, many years since, obviously, as you know, I lost my parents when I was young. And the one thing that kept me really just coming back home to myself was a ritual of chai. And then, of course, in the throes of early motherhood, when I wrote my book, That Suck Now What, the only thing that could keep me sane during all the craziness of, motherhood, serial entrepreneurship, writing a book, all of these things, moving, cross country to a different home in a different city in a different state, and then, of course, doing it
And then
again.
not even cross country, now moving across the world.
Subcontinents, continents, I think, because we just did that a year ago, and we'll get into that a little bit. It has always come back to the ritual, and I think so many people talk about their meditation rituals and, going to the gym, all of these things. But what if you don't have that time because you are super busy and you have things
Well,
going on?
it's not even super busy. It's like there is something that you can only understand the chaos of the mornings, wonderful chaos, the best chaos, but the chaos of the mornings when you have small children. Like
Yeah,
you can, if there's so many things, anything can happen. Anything can happen between 6 and 8 a.m. And
it's
so
true. And all of it can happen between 6 and 8.
so you never know. And so the idea of like, I'm going to meditate and I'm going to cold plunge and I'm going to exercise and I'm going to do all these things, you could get pooped on or vomited on or like God knows what. And it's all just totally normal. Totally
And,
normal.
and you're just like, I'm gonna roll with the punches, but you know what? You know what they
You can
cannot
have
take away
chai.
from you?
You can
They
have
cannot
chai.
yeah, and you can have your chai. And here's the thing, the reason why I think I've always been a health nut as well, as you know. I mean, obviously, losing both of my parents to cancer, losing my brother to, an asthma attack. I think that I was just primed from a young age to just say, okay, what is going into my body? And I've been so, I think
Well,
that
and
has
being a
been a sacred
doctor too,
practice.
like that.
Well, well, and then adding on to the mix of just like add on, add on, add on. You can't take the girl away from her medical training. Um, so, I mean, I wanted something that was going to feel good in our bodies, in our nervous systems. And that was kind of the place that I arrived at, even writing the book and, getting burnt out from the book, doing 200 plus, interviews for the book, doing a whole book tour in several different cities. I mean, it was a beautiful time. And of course, the book reached, tens of thousands of people. And but at the end of it, I was burnt out. And we can talk a little bit about just the idea of burnout and how badly I needed ritual for myself. And while chai and the making of the chai, the sacred moment of the 5 to 10 minutes, even if the kids are screaming in the background, I always had that. That was my meditation. And I know some people have their ritual of coffee, the aroma, smelling it. And of course, in the ancient cultures of the Japanese cultures, of the Chinese cultures, the Indian cultures, they all have this reverence to a tea ceremony, which is, this metaphor of, you're brewing the hot water, you're steeping the tea, you're crushing the herbs, you're pouring it in a cup. I know we don't have that much time, obviously, because a lot of us do have so many things, but I wanted to make it sacred. Okay, how do we do this without getting all of these things? But this is a metaphor to take 5 minutes out of our day to have something. And I kind of call it an upgraded chai because it has all the adaptogens. And the one that, you're drinking has its focus flow. So it has lion's mane, it has brahmi for mental clarity. Lion's mane obviously is a neurotropic, supports, neuroplasticity, as well as saffron for mood, which obviously there's so many studies for. And then it actually tastes like chai. And it's vegan and it's only 1 gram of sugar. So I've taken out all of, kind of the messiness and the grunt work. And I wanted to make it super easy for women to literally come back home to herself so that she can carve out that 5 minutes or 10 minutes to just pause and reset her nervous system and pour back into her before she goes on with her day.
I think it's such an important conversation to have for women who identify as kind of leading with the masculine. When you're
Mhm.
that type A personality, when you are like go getter, hustle, like you want all the things, and you're smart and focused and committed, and you have all of this, but it wasn't until I think it was when I turned 40
Mm,
that I really started to become aware of the feminine and the masculine and like how I had been leading up to 40 with
yeah.
only masculine. So I was like
Mhm.
severely out of balance. And
Mhm.
it's my natural state to be like, something needs done. Like, I'm going to go just do it. I'm not going to,
Yeah.
like, I'm going to figure it out. And
Mhm.
I like that about myself, but I also know that like everything needs to be in balance and there's beauty in being able to receive. And there's beauty in um just knowing like I think it impacts our leadership in our
Yeah.
companies, how we engage with our team. And so for someone who leads with masculine, creating, it's not like you have to become a different person, but just like you're saying, you create these times and spaces for you to actually pause and reset the nervous system. Because if you do wake up, grab your phone, start checking Slack, go, you're running downstairs, there's, kids running around everywhere, you're going to lead into the start of your workday with like chaotic energy or stressed energy instead of coming from a grounded place. Your default is going to be like, if a problem comes up, you're going to be in like grumpy or angry or why did this happen instead of trying to understand the bigger picture and be able to solve that problem in a better way.
Oh, 100%. And I feel like you just kind of, hit the nail on the head when you're sharing about the grounded energy. And I think it's so easy for us to just kind of be in go mode because the masculine energy is the go mode, is the doing mode, is the let's get it done mode. And it's like, okay, let's slay the day. Whereas the feminine energy is more so this, it's the soft power, it's the being, it's the kind of observing and just being present and seeing, okay, what else can I create? And it kind of is reflected in taking that pause. Well, if we're leading with our masculine, we forget to take that pause because we think, okay, if I don't get all of these things done, if I don't do everything that's on my to-do list, then I'm going to be behind. I'm not going to, be able to serve my team, et cetera, et cetera. And it's this frenetic energy, for lack of a better word, of this like angst and anxiety that's like leading the day versus, okay, I'm going to have, I know you love the rose ritual. I'm going to have the rose ritual. And it is this feminine, I call it the nervous system reset in a cup because it's so beautiful. It's pink, it's floral. It's obviously, it just reminds me when I'm leaning in my masculine, especially in the middle of the day when I don't want heavy caffeine. This has, green tea. It has all of the adaptogens in it that really supports calm and just taking a rest in our day. However, it's also that kind of time where you're like, okay, I am going to pause and remember that I can actually be for 5 minutes and then I can go and slay the rest of my day. And to your point, can we remind ourselves to actually lead with our feminine and how much better our team members and our families can benefit because of that?
So tell me about that journey with you of learning how to lead with your feminine when, from the like dental era to the coach era to the book era to now. I mean, like I feel like as we age, we just get better and better. I love a woman in their 50s. They're like my muse right now.
I love women in their 50s too. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're my spirit animal. I think there is this idea of, I have so much more reverence for spaciousness and time. And I think there's this discerning factor of, okay, what gets to be on my plate and what doesn't. I think as someone for myself who's always led in her masculine, and it hasn't been until having children, uh, and multiple, to really say, okay, and that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book. And of course, from that, really birthed this idea of becoming a, founder again in a full CPG, consumer product good business that's completely different than, starting a coaching enterprise, a coaching institute, coach training business altogether, speaking, et cetera, writing. And, I
So
think
good for your
that,
brain though to challenge yourself and to try, you know what I mean? Like if you just keep doing the same thing that you're good at over and over, like your brain, you're not like building those brain muscles. I think
no,
it's
you're
amazing.
so You're so right. I recently spoke to a VC and he's like, Neetha, with all the things you did, and hopefully this adds value to, whoever needs to hear this today. But, sometimes being a multi-hyphenate, he was saying that you're actually a builder and that's just who you've always been. You're a builder and then you take it to a certain point. And because he's a VC and he invests in a lot of these, startups and early stage startups, that there are certain founders who they take it to a certain point and then they hand it off to, the team that manages it and runs it until they want to exit. And so it's interesting because for me, I get really excited about projects and that really fuel me. And I'm in this build mode and this go mode. So it's very much in the masculine. And so to your point, your question of how have you been able to manage the feminine? Honestly, in my early, we were talking about early back way back when, before kids and when you're in your 20s and early 30s, I was just, in the go, go, go. And I think it's taken many iterations of being burnt out, health scares or health situations, obviously, um, and recognizing that, what, my nervous system needs more prioritization. And so I think becoming smarter and more wise in my 40s, it's a whole new game because now I was just sharing with another group that I was speaking with today. I have my playlists of the songs that really turn me up out on, whether it's my 90s hip hop playlist,
Oh,
whether it
I have an amazing 90s hip hop playlist.
Whether it's some Michael Jackson, whether it's Whitney Houston, I don't care, some EDM, whatever it is, I will just turn it on. And if I'm having a slump in the day, especially with my chai, I will have it and I will sip it, and it will be the most
It's a kitchen dance
luxurious
party. It's a
thing.
kitchen dance
Yeah,
party.
it's a kitchen dance party. And if
Kitchen
you have
dance
kids,
parties are
you
the
get it.
ultimate mood lifter. Ultimate mood.
They are the best. And I've done it with my teams, and it's great. And if we're having a team meeting, and I challenge this to whomever has not had a dance party on their team meeting, just start the call with a song. I guarantee you everyone, and play the song for the 3 minutes, the full 3 minutes, and dance it up, and do what you got to do. But I guarantee you the mood of your team meetings will fully change. You will fully shift. The energy will fully shift. And because you are more in your feminine, and because we've dropped into our heart, or because we've got the energy shaken up in our bodies, oh, we're coming more from a grounded place than more from this like logical headspace.
Yeah.
And it just shifts the energy. So I am such a big believer that if you can, I highly recommend carving out those spaces where you can add more of, the feminine side. So it's adding things like dance. There was a time where I put a, pole in my in my
I
garage
remember that. I remember.
because I wanted to, and this was not for anybody else but myself. This was for me to get more into my feminine. And then I realized that pole dancing is actually not feminine, because you have to you have to be very
It's
strong.
a
Kind
very, yeah, I mean, it's a huge
of
workout.
masculine
You
sport.
know what
It's a
I
very
want to do? Belly
workout.
dancing. Have you ever done belly
Oh, that's
dancing?
great. Of course. Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. It's
That's like
so,
my
that's
next,
super
that's my
beautiful.
next, adventure is belly dancing.
Oh, yes. I think that's okay, you and I both. That'd be great.
So tell me what your vision or your focus is as you're building chai tonics. Like, what is when we're looking at coaching, or when we're looking at, business education, being an author, these different types of things, there's a very clear focus or message or mission that you're trying to accomplish. And this is a completely different business model. So going into this, how were you thinking about like the impact that you wanted to make for the end user?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, this is your chai, but upgraded. I wanted to not necessarily compete with Starbucks, I feel like, but everybody knows, chai or chai lattes. And there hasn't been something that is, not the sugary, syrupy Starbucks
Right.
or any
That are
sort of
so
chais
sweet.
that are,
And
and
yeah.
it's so sweet. It's so sweet. And it's funny because we polled in our pre-launch, we polled about 500 people on what kind of chai they like, and not just people from the diaspora, like everybody, like whoever drinks chai, like why they like chai or why they don't. And there were a lot of people who said, I don't like chai because I've tried it and it's so sweet. And I'm like, okay, that's just not chai. You have not tried chai if it's like a cinnamon sugary syrupy bomb. That's just not chai. And so I wanted something where, of course, you have all of the grounded spices like the cinnamon, the cardamom, the ginger, the fennel, which is great for digestion. It's great for, Ayurveda has been around for 5,000 years. It's the oldest science. And it supports our nervous system. It supports our gut. It supports our glow. So I wanted to be able to use that, but also, the main mission is to teach women in every season and stage and era of her to come back home to herself, to come back home to a ritual, and a ritual that's easy, a ritual that's great for you, a ritual that reminds you that it's a hug and a cup, a ritual that takes 5 minutes. So yes, to, all of the things that's really holistic, wholesome, and great for not just you, your body, and your nervous system. It's vegan. It's powered by coconut milk. The Focus Flow has MCT oil, so it's great for brain fuel. So not only did I want to make a really amazing, beautiful, holistic, clean, product without any of the artificial ingredients and or any natural, quote unquote, natural flavorings that has endocrine disruptors in it. But I wanted to make something where it is a ritual to come home to ourselves, because in this day and age where we have so many things on our plate, where there's just all of the to-dos, can we actually give women permission to pause? And that is my mission. I feel like it's always been that underlying mission with everything in the through line in all my work, is to, you know, obviously I love bringing people together. I've been doing live events in every single aspect of my life in the last decade of doing, coaching and writing and speaking. And that's the beauty. I mean, you've come, you've stayed at our home, you've seen kind of just, the gatherings. And I wanted to make this in a way, chai, as a way to have that circle with other women, whether it's in your own home, whether it's with your team, but also as a way to connect with other people, because
That's
um, that's the human element right there.
one of my favorite things to do whenever I'm on a trip with another woman, and we've done this before, is the walk and talk, right? Like you go for your morning walk, and I feel like the best conversations happen during the walk and talk. And if you're not in a, like, the other time that the best conversations happen is when you're having a chai or having a, like, let's have a coffee or and with, we bought a farm. I don't think I told, or did I message you? Yeah, we bought a farm.
No, you bought a farm. Oh my gosh.
I'll tell you about
Okay.
that after. Um, but Christy on my team, her family came down to the farm, and our kids are great friends, and I adore her and her husband, on a personal level as well. And my favorite moment from that whole weekend was 20 minutes that she and I got to have some alone time. We sat on the porch, we were overlooking the water, and we just had the chai. And it was like such a deep connective moment. It was the rose ritual. I put the rose things on the top. She loved it.
Oh,
That was the reason that I got the idea to get everybody the chai
the
as a
pie.
gift.
Oh my
But
gosh. I love that.
to pause and have those moments, those, because we don't have them as much, because women are working, or we're, a lot. I know, I'm sure this is the case for you, but a lot of my deepest, closest friendships are not in close proximity, right?
Yeah.
And so I have women that I'm in deep friendship with, but I only see them once or twice a year, right? And
Yeah.
so when you get that 20 minutes to actually sit with them and have those conversations and feel seen and see them, it's such a connection point that is so vital. And I know for me, coffee is my ritual in the morning,
Yeah.
but I got rid of the afternoon coffee and I'm drinking this. And
Oh
for
my goodness.
me, it's so important. Like, again, turning 45 this year, I think anybody in their 40s, if you're dealing with perimenopause or any of those types of things, like, you really have to be aware of your sleep, your exercise, what you're putting into your body. I feel the best I've ever felt. And
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
also like keenly aware of the foods that I'm eating, the exercise, the like extremely limited alcohol, which are all
Mhm.
like, that's what works for me, and
Yeah.
figuring that out, you know?
No, and actually, because you're loving the Rose Ritual, I mean, Rose Ritual has shatavari in it, which is really supportive for postpartum. It's great for pregnancy. It's great for fertility. And it's also great for perimenopause and menopause, because the Ayurvedic herb shatavari is great for just women's hormones in general. And so, and then it also has holy basil, which is like the anchor of, if you go to anybody's house in India, they will always have a tulsi or holy basil plant. Just from a spiritual aspect, it literally grounds the energy of the home. And so we put that in the rose ritual to help ground the energy of you. So it's no wonder that you are going to have this grounded, sustained energy. Rhodiola is also great because while it's activating, it gives you that kind of sustain energy so you can have it in the middle of the day without having this like crazy crash. It's not going to keep you up at night. So yeah, it's a nice little treat.
I have a question as a non-Indian person, but
Yes.
isn't chai just the Indian word for tea? Or is there
Yeah.
something that's different? Because there's so many different types of teas.
Yeah.
How, but when I think of chai, I think of this like a particular drink, but isn't it all tea? Please
Yeah. Yeah.
educate me.
Yes. Yes. So when you say chai tea, okay, so this is we're gonna school everyone. We cannot say chai tea because it's just tea tea. You would just be saying tea tea. But
TT.
for any for anybody from the diaspora, uh, traditional chai, and there's different names for chai. There's karak chai. There's all different kinds. Adrak chai, which is ginger chai, elaichi chai, which is cardamom chai. And so you're absolutely right. It just means tea. But when we're thinking just the word chai, of course, it's always associated with a lot of the herbs and spices. And, I like to call it the upgraded chai because it's obviously with adaptogen superfoods that really support our nervous systems and our focus and our energy. But yeah, so I'm glad everybody is getting a masterclass on chai.
Thank you. All right. So for our listeners that want to learn more about Chai Tonics, want to follow you, want to follow the brand, where can we send them?
Yes. So if you are curious, definitely Chai Tonics. You can follow our journey along. If you would like to carry it at the spa, we have a wholesale deal at Fair, which is FAIRE,
Oh, we know all
fair.com.
about Fair. We know all
Yeah.
about Fair. Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of
So
spa
we're
people. Yeah.
we're on Fair. A lot of spa people love our products on Fair. And so you can get wholesale deals there as well as tritonics.com. We are on Shopify and we are soon going to be on Amazon. So
Wow, that's
excited.
exciting. Well,
Yes.
thank you,
Yes.
Neetha. I love you. I'm so glad that for this next chapter for you in business, and it's going to be incredible.
I'm
Already.
super excited. I'm super excited. I mean, this is the whole idea is to, come back home to yourself in one way or another. So if I can leave anybody with, whatever is going on in life, I hope you find that thing, whether it's shy, whether it's, some sort of practice for you. I mean, it'd be great if it's shy, but if it's something else, just find something that you can come home to you at the end of the day. Yeah.
Love that. Quick reminder before you leave. If your spa growth still depends on you doing more, it's time for a shift. Watch The System Shift, a free training designed to help spa owners break past that $25,000 to $35,000 month plateau without adding more treatment hours. You'll learn the CEO level systems that help you scale while protecting your time, your values, and your peace. Go to grow.autoaesthetics.com/podcast and watch The Systems Shift. That's grow.autoaesthetics.com/podcast.